hopefully put up a little bit more of a fight than perhaps Black Waltz did yesterday. No, not to be too harsh with him, but like I said, he's a strong player, but the games were fairly one-sided. And actually this... What is that, Miniyeti? What is that? That's got to be the biggest Highland early game throw of all time. So I'm just gonna replay that back. Just obviously we joined in a little bit as it was happening. So Miniyeti was gonna get these elephants for sure, and then he decided to build a house. And now Vertex has just sniped the elephants. And now he will find no elephants. I'll get us back up to live. But I mean, he's going to find another elephant there, actually. So he's going to get a little bit lucky. Did he see this one here? Oh my, I don't know if he deserved that luck there. So he actually does find the other two elephant in the center of the map. Vertex gets the two from the very center. I mean, it's probably actually fortunate that Vertex did get there first, because otherwise, I think Miniyeti would have got all 4 elephants there. Actually, no, he probably wouldn't have searched for that one up there. He probably would have got 3, not 4, but he would have had a very big lead. Town bell rang by Miniyeti there, little misclick. Happens to the best of us, I guess. But yeah, to look at the civs though, Vertex has decided to pull out the Shang straight away, and this is the map the Assyrians are being used for by Miniyeti. So I guess he was I've seen back in the Rise of the Ancients divisions, Bob used to quite like picking Assyrians on this map just because the faster villager speed means you can usually guarantee that you're the first of those central elephants, which we kind of nearly saw Yeti do, and then he just built this house in the middle of the map that nearly cost him dearly in this early game. But like I said, he did luckily. What is going on with this town bell, man? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's just got like his short keys bound incorrectly there. It's a little bit crazy. But yeah, like I said, Vertex on the all-powerful Shank is going to have, you'd imagine, a significant civ advantage. The Shang obviously are I think just widely agreed on as the best civilization in the game. All right, Fire. Yeah, that's probably a good tip, to be fair, Fire. But yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you accidentally ring the town bell, sometimes it can just like, well, the best thing you can do is just ring it again to send the villagers back. But then if you like mess up your orders and stuff, villagers can end up going idle or all like, yeah, messing it all up completely. My default for build is actually A. I think it's actually Q if you've got the AoE2 settings on. In Return of Rome, I actually changed it to A myself. So A is economy building and S is military building, because then if you press AA, that just gets to farm straight away. So I like to have A as build, and then S. If you press SS, that's wall. So I like that for quick walling. But yep, 18 villagers up by Miniyeti. So he's had an entire minute and 12 of idle TC time. So actually, like you can see the white bars here, Vertex is going to be the first to age up on 20 vills. And we don't see a villager forward from either player. Barracks being built up at home by both players. I've not really talked about the maps too much. Vertex actually has a pretty wallable map here. He's not found his other elephant just yet. You can see he could quite easily wall here, front of his base, and here. I don't know how much exploration he's actually done. I haven't searched the back. He does actually know where, yeah, so he sees the berry patch and the extra elephant there. And actually, yeah, it's fairly similar base for Miniyeti. It's kind of weird that all these wood lines are right near the edge of the map, and this TC is quite near the edge as well. But like I said, both players playing from home here. Vertex just has an early game advantage just from, well, basically just from being the Shang. It's going to be 2 villagers ahead for some time unless some action kicks off fairly quickly. Interesting that Miniyeti's walling so close to his TC, I would have thought this would have been the sort of obvious place to wall with the buildings. Yeah, you can obviously see all that, because yeah, he already has the house here, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to do this and give you a little bit more area to work with. We do see early clubbers coming out for some initial exploration. Market already down for Vertex, that's quite interesting. And walls going down as well. But yeah, just some early military units from both players. It feels like, actually, yeah, 4 and 4. I was going to say, it feels like Vertex is committing a little bit more with more units in the queue. We're going to see first contact, well, other than the elephant situation at the start of the game. This clubber does have a +2 attacking, but with the bowman there, should be fairly easy kill on the clubman. Actually, Vertex lost a villager at some point to, I presume, an elephant. I didn't notice that when it was there, because there's no eco kill from Miniyeti. And actually, Miniyeti got killed somewhere else, actually, so I don't know exactly where. Maybe that wasn't first contact there. Maybe I missed that. Vertex sold food. I didn't even really. I didn't pay attention to that. I guess he must have done, because he's got, yeah, very strange amount of gold. Interesting. Another unit goes down at the front of the base. As both players fairly, I can't, what's the word here I'm looking for? Sort of like timid early game, just sort of having a poke around here and there. No committed attacks just yet, but now we are getting slightly larger, massive units moving around. There is actually a small hole there, but the way Yeti is walled means that most of his economy is still going to be safe. Obviously these farmers and burial collectors a little bit exposed, but they can just jump in the TC, and there is the tower here as well. Big portion of army there. Vertex has got himself nearly the resources he needs to click up now. Obviously a huge advantage of the Shang is to just save so much food on the villagers. And Vertex already about 5.5-ish villages ahead. And archers at the front now are knocking on the door. Or I think all the slingers are forward here in this group here. So there's one more somewhere else. This village is possibly going to go down. Actually, no, I think it's going to be able to jump in the TC there. That's the other slinger there. Vertex needs a little bit careful. These are Assyrian bowmen, so they got some serious DPS. House does get broken through. Vertex has clicked up to Bronze Age now. And storage pit going up on the gold outside. Obviously, this is his home gold there at the front, a little bit exposed. But yeah, the woodline's going to be forced to run away here. Vertex is maybe going to lose all the berry workers. A little bit sloppy from Vertex here. 2 villagers go down. That's 4 villagers in total that have been taken out. 4 are hidden. Needlework wasn't in. You can see that's needlework being queued up behind the Bronze Age tech there. And do we even have a stable down for Vertex, which I assume would be what he wants to try and get some cavalry in. Oh, sorry, he does have a stable in the middle of his base there. 1 scout, not really going to be enough, but yeah, at least pulled the Tool Age army back now. It's come all the way back from the forward position. Yeah, still plenty of eco idle. And yeah, he has caught up with villagers now, but obviously Vertex is in the Bronze Age. 1 cavalry in the queue. I think he still just has the single stable for the time being. Working just coming in now as well. Probably soon. Well, actually, I don't have food. Excuse me. Do much there really. Scout might want to get involved here. Just have that extra bonus damage against the bows. But this army here is kind of just running distraction for the time being. It's already kind of trapped in Vertex's base, so he should be able to fairly easily take this out. Meanwhile, Miniyeti sat on over 1,000 wood. So, storage pit deleted there. Is he just going to rebuild the pit? Granary going up, and I guess, yeah, well, yeah, like I said, he's not giving himself much space there. So Farm's going to go up around this as soon as Yeti pays attention. Looks like he's focusing his attention at the front a little bit. This blob of bowmen. But yeah, all these should get taken down by the cavalry. Let the cavalry free! Let it free! Get the slinger out of the queue, out of the group, not the queue. Villagers that were on stone forced to run. They're going off to the berries here. He actually know he doesn't actually see the berry patch. So Vertex needs to be careful he doesn't lead his opponent there. But yeah, bows, like I said, getting some damage in, but kind of they're not really longed for this world at this point. Yeah, Vertex, like I said, a little bit sloppy on the defense there. I think it would have been wiser to just pull the units back as he clicked the Bronze Age, just because that was the only thing that could have gone wrong there, is if those bowmen did just take out his whole eco as the Bronze Age was coming in. The Bronze Age is going to be in for Yeti soon. And how many archery ranges? 4 archery ranges is what we're on for the time being. Vertex kind of only just really now getting himself solidly set up in the Bronze Age, because he just had all that madness going on in his base. Some extra TCs have gone down. He's onto the gold as well. And he started actually adding in Chariot Archer. Obviously, the Assyrian Chariot Archer is going to be much stronger than the Shang ones. And Vertex, I think, is probably going to need to try and get some sort of aggressive push up before those Assyrian Chariot numbers can build up in mass too much. Obviously, it's a very solid position right now. You can see, just in terms of the eco, he's moving way ahead. And there's 2 wall sections. There we go. I was going to say, we're not actually properly walled here. In a lot of places, houses fairly quick to burn through. Obviously, probably the weakest point is this bit at the back here, but Vertex doesn't see that. Miniyeti has expanded a little to the top side here, like you can see. Like I said, he's kind of given himself not a huge amount of room to work with here. He's quite penned in for the main part of his empire. Units slowly working their way through. It'd be interesting to see if a villager for a forward siege workshop maybe comes down from Vertex. I don't see a villager. I think it's just, yeah, the slow trickle of cavalry still coming forward here. His wall still... Actually, this wall here only has 5 HP on. So actually, Vertex wasting a little bit of time going through this slightly higher HP wall. And now he's into the next layer. Actually, now Vertex has found the flank here, but no, Yeti applies to that, gets that small wall up nice and quick. Just still spying if a siege workshop does come down from Vertex anytime soon. You can see now it's massively far ahead on the eco, but the Chariot Archer numbers are building up. There's only +2 armor still, so this cavalry can be fairly threatening. I don't know if, yeah, it's not +4 attack, that said. So these cavalry not at their optimal damage output themselves. And so the sort of more economy approach from Vertex is obviously a good plan in the long term. But if these Assyrian Chariot Archer numbers do get too high, Vertex needs to be very careful. Just delete this slinger, man. Yeah, we go. Get rid of him. As you know, it's one of my biggest pet peeves when people like tie together slow units with fast units. It just really gets under my skin, that. But yeah, going to be a decent push from Yeti here. And towers coming up for Vertex. Which they can be a good way to sort of dissuade the chariots from coming through, but if you have enough chariots, you can just run straight underneath towers. You can need like a combination of towers and walls, really. We're going to have a bit of an engage here. Like I said, some of the Bronze Age techs are still missing. And Yeah, I think, yeah, Vertex is missing nobility, doesn't have that either yet. Syrians don't get nobility themselves, that's one of their other weaknesses in the Bronze Age. Have that tech available, but the Chariot Archer's diving forward under the TC now. I think, yeah, we're going to see a decent fight here. A few villages may go down, but yeah, you're going to try. Deletes the barracks actually, because Vertex just try and get more of a wraparound on the units. This does give the Chariot Archers full access to his base now, but villagers going with quick houses to wall in. I don't think Vertex has enough cavalry to deal with the mass of units here. Unless we're working just about to come in, more reinforcements coming forward, and Vertex not on gold at the moment. Can't keep the pump going. Could have added maybe some more chariots into this. Miniyeti's bursting through now, and Catapult Stonethrower is going to get a good solid hit though. Needs another one to actually take out some more units, and there we go. Miniyeti caught, kind of not really paying attention there. Another wave of chariots does come forward though. Vertex still with like that huge economy lead, but he needs to get himself back on the gold. He needs to try and warp the front of this base to get that gold secured really, if he wants to keep pumping the cavalry. Chariots being added in queue, and Miniyeti surrenders. And I guess he probably just assumes that attack, once it got dealt with, that he wasn't going to be able to take out his opponent there. Quite a lot on this map. There's been a lot of games where people have picked the Hittites on this map actually, and Citadels to be fair. Yeah, the Hittite players have been punished quite a lot in the early game before they can get to that Bronze Age. The Romans, I think it's KT was one of the players to really try and use the Romans to full effect on this map with just their strong, decently strong early game eco with the cheaper buildings, and then obviously the cheaper towers to really enforce the push on your opponent there. But a few other players have been employing that strategy as well, and I think for the most part it's actually been very successful. Yet he will undergo Permatool Nightmare. You do still have to be very clinical with the push, just because of how strong the Hittites are. If they do get to the Bronze Age and they have any sort of decent setup to get those units out in the field, they almost instantly can deal with the aggressive push. But again, Romans are one of the best civs for the sort of, like I said, tower push and just towering into your opponent's base. It makes that push can be very difficult for civs that don't have the slinger to deal with. Because obviously the slinger is kind of like the siege, the siege unit of the Tool Age. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said earlier on, one of the biggest variances of the map here on Inside Out is the berry spawn. So we do have one berries forward for Vertex. Okay, one berry forward for each player. I think it's less of a deal for Vertex because obviously we'll expect him to be on the offensive. So Vertex should have control of this middle of the map for the early game, which should give him access to that. But Miniyeti does at least have those berries out the back of his base, which he does see that as well. So that could be... these berries could be the lifeline for Miniyeti when the madness starts to unfold. Interesting that Miniyeti's actually choosing to build all of his houses forward just to add a little bit extra defense there. Yeah, it's only the single gate front to the base because of the way this map spawned. Sometimes, yeah, you can see Vertex has the two gates, and the gates are usually the easiest way to break in. I mean, Unres can do as he likes. If he wants to play some AoE 2, I'm an AoE 2 enjoyer myself. But I'm also here for the return of Rhone action. A little bit of deleting of the wall there, just potentially for future storage pits. Give access to the wood. Yeah, Yeti is... well, you'd imagine he's just going for the full fast bronze. Yeah, it's quite... Yeah, that's a good point, Bongo. He only has a very small front to the base, so it's going to be much easier to defend that. And like I said, he's already been using the houses to add in an extra layer of defense, as I said already. And yeah, we'll have to see if Vertex can get the aggressive player. It does have 4 villagers in queue, but I feel like Vertex is one of the players that just keeps spamming the queue villager button and often just has to cancel them later on. So actually we only see 1 villager in queue for Miniyeti, so it'd be interesting to see if he goes up on 20 vills to just try and sort of be in a position. Oh no, he's added extra villagers now, but yeah, Vertex does cancel the vills, clicks up. 23 seconds idle time, that's not too bad for a Civ without a food bonus in the early game, which obviously the Romans don't have one. Only the small wood bonus. And now we do see the villager coming out. And does have the wood for a barracks already. It looks like he's doing a bit of exploration first. I feel like... Why is he searching up here? I feel like the obvious spot would be the Miniyetis opposite him on the map. So I'm a little bit curious about that. He still hasn't put down the barracks. It does go down now. Miniyeti putting down a barracks himself. So yeah, Vertex kind of delaying the, like, normally you want an Axer or two to just help the push going forward. And with the Slingers obviously as the main unit once you hit the tool age. But yeah, I was a little bit weird by Vertex. I mean, I've seen Vertex has his classic manoeuvres, just sent words trying to get them out. Face plant the villager into his opponent's base, and this time he's face planting it into the wood line there. And 22 villagers up for Miniyeti, so not too greedy there. That might mean he spends a little bit longer in the tool age than you would in a like 23 pop-up fast bronze, but he does have the wood. Just a little bit shy for food at the moment, and he does have 1 villager already in queue though. And where are the buildings? They're going up at the front again, so archery range and market to be expected. And villagers. So in fact, the club has just got cancelled, so it's just all in Slinger. Villagers gonna join in on the. Okay, he's decided to break for a wall instead. But yeah, possibly here. Miniyeti clicking bronze. No, where's this stone being used actually? Where's this tower? Am I... Oh no, sorry, that's been just on the Slingers. I got confused there. For some reason I thought he'd spent stone on the tower. But yeah, small walls going up. And I think this is going to be a case, as Bongo was saying, that the front of Yeti's base is just so narrow for Vertex to get through that I think Yeti is actually going to have the time he needs to get up to the Bronze Age here. Miniyeti probably should have got himself set up on the berries at the back a bit sooner. Just have the wood to get a granary up for that. But he needs to start getting a food source in. He's actually gathering some gold. Interesting. I don't know if that's just so he can maybe get a stone thrower out a bit quicker, possibly. Just the 2 villagers on the gold there. And Vertex is going to work his way through the barracks, but there's double walls behind this. Probably the easiest thing to, probably the easiest way to go is going to be through this archery range, but then it's going to be, in fact that's not going to be the easiest way because there's the market blocking as well. And so, unfortunately, Watchtower only just coming in now for Vertex. I think, unfortunately for Vertex, the map spawn has worked massively against him. These villagers idle here. Let's get set on the berries now. Siege Workshop, for some reason, right next to the TC. I don't know why that couldn't be built like here, but fair enough. I guess most of the eco for the farmers is probably going to be built out the back here. Wall does go down now. So Vertex is in. He is on 17 slingers with stone mining. Stone thrower coming out now. Tower in the base. So Miniyeti doesn't have a single unit down. These villagers are going to need to run. And he's going to need to be very careful with the stone thrower here. Wheel is about to come in. We've only got the singular archery range, I believe. Yeah, so only the single archery range. Don't have the wood, really. Another siege workshop, so just double siege workshop. Doesn't have, I mean, there's more gold out here. It doesn't have the gold to build another stone thrower. So I'm not really sure what the decision was there. Vertex can see, obviously, Vertex can see the flag on top of the siege workshop, so he knows there's a stone thrower, at least one stone thrower in there. He could wall the siege in. That would be pretty funny. But villager pops out, and Miniyeti does build the stone thrower outside. Ooh. Stone thrower went for the shot. I think it's just going to get clubbed down. That's kind of a depressing way to go for the stone thrower. To actually get 3 kills in there, so it must have killed maybe a few slingers. Villager maybe was being pulled to repair the stone thrower. I don't know exactly what was meant to be going on there. Some re-walling going on as the slingers. I missed a bit of the action there. I'm going to just do a quick rewind. Yeah, we had the slingers here going to splat after they worked their way through the gate. And yeah, villagers burning down. I think yeah, he did a little bit lucky to not kill his own villagers there. So yeah, stone thrower. 2 stone throwers in play now for Miniyeti. Still only, I think he's still only on that single archery range. Actually, oh yeah, it's there. Okay, archery range is out of the back now, and some chariot archers are being built. Vertex is way ahead on villager count, but obviously still in tool age for the time being. Is nearly does nearly have the food he needs to get to the Bronze Age. Now villagers coming forward. I guess trying to bone down. Well, he has the wheel in, so these villagers can close the gap down. It's a little bit sketch though. Farms going up. First chariot archer hits the field, and Bronze Age is clicked for Vertex now. And TC under a lot of pressure. Villagers coming out to try and defend the stone throwers here. It's a little bit of a desperate defense from Miniyeti, but he does need to try and hold the position. Whoa. And it's just a little bit clumsy. And yeah, meanwhile Vertex still going up. Miniyeti kind of needs to get that village production, and he does have a couple of villages in the queue, so we'll be able to try and make up the difference. Only 2 actual villager kills, but quite a lot of idle TC time from Miniyeti. And now the stone throwers should clear out his base. Stable being snuck in the corner there. A large line of sight from the stone throwers. Don't spot that just yet. Vertex is on gold, so I expect, and cavalry armor being researched. I expect it will just be cavalry from Vertex as the option. Well, we've got the stable right there, so it's not really a big it's not really a huge prediction there, but okay, so Miniyeti does spot the stable now. Can he delete the stable before the cavalry gets built? I don't think so. But yeah, Miniyeti is wise to this, and chariot archer production is go. Well, actually, the stable does get taken down. Well, I didn't expect that. And so, I don't know if I like this. Obviously, Romans do get the faster attacking sword line, but broadsword into Hittite chariot archers. I mean, obviously at this point, Vertex, his power window against the Hittites is passed. He does have 8 villagers to his name. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. The Romans, their big weakness in the Bronze Age is they just don't have any good ranged units, which is the main way you try to deal with opponents' CAs. Either with your own CA or compies can be a decent option. Otherwise, you just have to completely outmass with cavalry. But yeah, it's going to be the commitment to the broadswordsman. They do obviously get the bronze shield upgrade for +1 armor against the ranged units. But against Hittite chariot archers, I think this is going to be pretty rough now. I mean, if Miniyeti takes an engage like this, it won't be rough. Need to be a little bit more careful with his units than that. But yeah, stone throwers, I presume... Where are the stone throwers? Okay, they're sort of trying to come forward here. But yeah, a few broadswords poking around. Like I said, Vertex does still have the eco advantage for the time being. And Miniyeti does need to be careful with his units. I think Miniyeti just needs, yeah, like I said, I think that sort of cursory look around, he needs to basically just push from his base and push out. Because the bigger the mass of the CA, just the more difficult it is for Vertex. He is on 2 TCs. Should be able to expand that lead still. There's one guy chilling, it's just a slinger there. But yeah, just needs to bring in the stone throwers to clear out the towers, and then Miniyeti can start pushing after that. 17 broadswords in play, but we do already have 12 chariot archers. Yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical about the broadswords myself. I mean, I think Vertex's best bet here is just to try and hold and get himself up to the Iron Age if he can. And then get himself... well, I guess just try and get Scythe Chariot out in the future to try and deal with the mass here. You could try and go for the ballista as well. The Romans get the extra +1 range on their ballistas, but then Hittites with their catapult line are very good at dealing with that unit. So it's going to be a little bit difficult here, I think, for Vertex, unless he can just somehow get an absolutely huge trade. Stone throwers, a little bit of poor movement from Yeti there to lose those units there. So this push gonna come through now for Vertex, but I don't really know why Yeti's like moving the units around so much. He just needs to let the units fire. Obviously stone throwers in the back, but like I don't think it should even really be a bad position if yet. Miniyeti's trying to range the stone thrower. I think it just needs to try and work down the number of broadswords here. I feel like Miniyeti is maybe feeling a little bit more pressured than he needs to be. Because like, if Vertex pushes in, like you can see now, all his units are just completely exposed. So this, even though he's broken through the gate here, this feels a little bit false to me. Stone thrower shot going wide, and yeah, it's going to be another clumsy positioning by Miniyeti with his stone throwers. So yeah, resources are being wasted here. Good dodge at the last second on the stone thrower. Okay, just takes that one on the chin though. Miniyeti not with the absolute best micro here, but again is just going to fairly easily win the fight. Tower's going to get denied. Another stone thrower in queue. So Yeti just needs to be more careful with his stone thrower use here. Vertex is committing to the flood of broadswords, but he just doesn't have the economy to like just force this home. 21 chariot archers to the only 10 broadswords. And again, Miniyeti just taking way too many hits with the chariots. The stone thrower does go down at least. And these broadswords again just going to get deterred. And we can just kill this tower here, Yeti. Okay. Sends it a bit further forward. We do have some broadswords on the flank here. But again, I don't think too much is going to be done. And all this time, Vertex is still only 12 villages ahead, which he has had that eco lead for a while, but he was on 3 TCs way sooner. I think, yeah, just another couple of stone throwers are probably needed just to force back the towers here. Chariot Archer mass up to 25 now. Miniyeti's kind of stopped production. He's mostly creating villagers now. Does take a small hit from the stone throwers. And, I feel like opening up the position again kind of just favors Miniyeti here, in a way, just because he has the more maneuverable unit, and it would give him more access to the stone throwers. Yeah, I think in Return of Rome, Romans are a little bit weaker, just because I feel like their Bronze Age is just not that great, and there's a lot more games that reach the Bronze Age in Return of Rome. But yes, yeah, he does still need to be careful of these stone throwers. And okay, now we've got the pump going seriously from Vertex. He's got his economy, because I think he had like 20 plus wheels of wood and only about 17 on farms, and now that's swapped around. Stone throwers going to be pretty deadly. Oh, that was a big hit there. Couple of stone throwers go down for Vertex. But yeah, obviously the Hittites with the extra HP should, in theory, be able to easily win the trades in the long run. And Yeti pulling back the units. Stone thrower may get caught out again here. And yeah, he's actually housed here. Does take a big hit from the stone thrower again. A few units going down. And again, Yeti just feels like his movement of his military hasn't been the cleanest here. And Vertex just going with mob tactics, just send the units forward. We don't have any nobility on these chariots either, that would help a lot against the catapult hits, which means that if you do take that hit, you'll be able to absorb. GG's called by Yeti. I feel like Yeti probably could have won this game. I feel like I don't know, by Alt-Tab for capture age, it just crashes. It's happened a couple of times recently. But yeah, here we are on Continental for Game 3. Vertex at match point here. If you can win this game, he knocks Miniyeti out of the tournament, who I think he would have considered himself, and I think a lot of players would have considered a contender for the title. Obviously, I think Say My Name has probably the target on his back as Seed 1. Elephant right next to the storage pit there, interesting. But both players going for the storage pit start. Much better storage pit, I'd have to say, for Vertex, in terms of like just the wood line being much better for him there. I mean, this is still going to be okay in the short term, but yeah, he's going to have to pit again fairly quickly for wood collection. Interesting like pocket here in the map spawn for Vertex, but he does have a very front open to his base. But yeah, Miniyeti on the all-powerful Minoans on the water maps here. Again, his base is a little bit less exposed at the front, a little bit exposed on the right though. But he has that gold in the center that he can definitely use to try and wall off the front section of his map there if he wants to. And are we going to see early aggression on the land out of Vertex? Sometimes that is a plan that players go for against the Minoans, because obviously if you get in deeper into the Tool Age and then towards the Bronze Age, just the discounts on the water for the Minoans are often too difficult for a lot of civs to contend with. The Phoenicians obviously do get the faster working wood lumberjacks as one of their bonuses, which can help a lot in the earlier phases of the game against the Minoans. But like I've said many times before, the Minoans bonus just scaling larger and larger into the later phases of the game makes it so it gets more and more difficult to contend with the potential number of both fishing boats slash ships and the scout ship line. Or, well, I guess war galley by the time you get to the Bronze Age. But both players Actually, for some reason I was going to say going for the water, but then I was like, wait, Vertex hasn't built a dock yet. So my brain sort of like momentarily froze for a second. Yeah, but like I said, Yeti has committed to the water and he is adding in fishing boats. And this will delay the tool time a little bit. And it looks like Vertex is just committing to the land for now. Villager already coming forward. No dock out to delay the uptime. 17 villagers, 19 seconds idle TC, not the worst. He's going to find the artifact there as well for a little bit of exploration, but he is going directly for his opponent's base. Although actually no, he's a little bit offline. Hopefully he doesn't miss it, but the villagers are going to meet up with each other here. And Vertex notices straight away, actually. I feel like Vertex shouldn't have done this. I feel like Vertex should, because like Miniyeti obviously didn't notice the villager. So Vertex could have just gone straight past. He's going to somehow win the trade there. I guess he just about first in. I feel like Vertex could have just carried on, put down the barracks, and Miniyeti would have been none the wiser there. So it was definitely Vertex that noticed instantly, and Miniyeti didn't notice at all until he was getting, well, maybe not notice. He did notice eventually, but he didn't notice straight away. That does delay the barracks going up. 19 Vil uptime, 38 second idle TC time. And actually Miniyeti had stopped villager production for some time, so it isn't going to be too far behind on the tool time. Though his economy is going to be a little bit anemic because of that. Though with the fishing boats out in play, does have a small advantage there. And you should be able to add in a few more fishing boats when the Stone Age comes in, Tool Age comes in. But yeah, I feel like, again, I feel like that was a little bit of a mistake by Vertex there. I guess maybe he gave Miniyeti the credit, the benefit of the doubt that he may have seen the forward village himself, but I feel like Miniyeti didn't see that there. Second barracks a little bit off. Obviously, he didn't quite know where his opponent's base was, and does see it now. It looks like the artifact did see that. So clubmen are in, soon to be axes, needleworking as well, coming in. And Miniyeti's in the position where he hasn't built the granary, which does often happen. So he doesn't have, because yeah, storage pit start meant he didn't build the granary. He doesn't have access to small wall or watchtower for the time being. Upgrades are coming in a timely fashion for the clubman though, for Miniyeti, so he will be able to fight back against the axes. Fast build on the houses does just about deter the next wave, but archery range down forward, small wall coming in for Vertex, potentially stop any counterplay. You see the stable going down in the middle of the map from Miniyeti, so potentially some scouts that were going to go for a counter attack on the land. Vertex, most of his eco on this south side here that could fairly easily just wall the section here, but let's go back to the action around Miniyeti's base. Bowman in here should mean Vertex has a pretty good time in this fight here. And Slinger's now being built by Yeti. So he is on the water. He hasn't actually added in any more fishing boats. I think he would do well to try and sneak a couple in with the wood he has. Extra dock going down just to get those boats working a little bit more efficiently. A second archery range on his opponent's face here. But yeah, like I said, I think Miniyeti just needs to try and get some fishing boat production going. He's going for the scout ships at the moment, but his opponent's still not on the water at all. I feel like, obviously, again, it's easy for me to say, but I feel like if you see your opponent with his all-in attack, you kind of have to assume that he's probably not in the water, because otherwise he probably wouldn't be able to afford all this investment for all these units. We have Slingers, so Scout out in the field. There's no armor in for the Scout, which actually does mean the villagers can actually fight back even without needlework in. Actually, looks like that, yeah, did manage to get 2 villager kills though in, so that's a pretty decent counter-attack just for one scout there. And Watchtower is in as well. It's interesting, Vertex researched small wall, but he hasn't actually built any. The attack continues. There's quite a few axes sitting by for the moment, Slingers as well. Like I said, I'm a little bit surprised that Yeti just hasn't been adding in the extra few fishing boats. A tower going up on the wood line now for Vertex, and that's going to deny the wood here. Storage pit. I mean, the villagers can work in this section here, but it's going to make that a little bit awkward. Villagers, a couple of villagers, I think maybe building a dock was the idea here. It's going to get spotted out by a bowman, unfortunately, for Yeti here. Yeah, it's four scout ships that got built. I guess he felt he had to maybe defend the fishing boats, as that's his main source of food at the moment, just in case Vertex did come on the land. But like I said, I think I would like to see a little bit more wood for the boats, get some more food, get some more units. And the villagers are running now. I guess he saw, maybe, I don't know if he even saw the base of the tower or not. New storage pit is going up though. And I think, yeah, Miniyeti still doesn't have a granary, so he still can't wall himself in. Another couple of scouts have been built. A third one coming in as well. Vertex is still exposed at home. He does have a singular Axa in defense there. Interestingly, tool working is not in. Some of these units are actually going to get caught out by the scout ships. I think, yeah, so now Vertex now has committed to the water. Now the tool age has lasted long enough. And a little bit of mistake here by Vertex trying to move in against those scout ships again. So these scout ships are going to be the watchtowers of the sea, I guess. They're going to hold the position for the villagers. Have another bit of engage. I think Vertex just had his units on aggressive stance there and they kind of just went in by themselves. Scouts are in again though. And needlework is in on the villagers, but it looks like Vertex is not paying attention here. Axa may be able to clear this one scout up, not after it takes a kill though. Vertex does notice now, but quite, well, not lots of damage, but some damage done back in return from Miniyeti at least. Finally added in a couple more fishing boats, but he is still behind on eco. Vertex himself quite pinched for resources now that he's tried to transition onto the water. And still very back and forth a game. KD is in the favour of Miniyeti, just about. But again, the eco numbers have been slightly in favour of Vertex for most of this tool age. Extra fishing boats are equaling that up again. Tower being very annoying. Scout ships are again going to be able to clear up some of the land units. Army in on the villagers again though, as a new TLC actually got built on the shoreline here. Army, I don't know, I presume he does have stone. No, there isn't stone mining in actually. I don't actually, maybe he doesn't even have the market. That said, yeah, there's no market, no granary from Miniyeti. And this is another game where it's just been kind of awkward and granaries gone up. You can't actually gather fish to a granary, but I think this is just so you can get the research in. I assume small wall once he has the resources available. But yeah, fishing boats have finally been added now, but this has given Vertex the time he needs to get a force built up on the water here. And 14 villagers are just going to be forced idle on the TC. Counter-attack coming out again from the scouts. Yeah, he pulls in the army now. I'm not really sure why he pulled that army back. I feel like he should have kept this army here to defend the position. And here come the scout ships now. And could this be game? Scout ships for Miniyeti as well. He's going to have to get a lot of hits in. It's outnumbered on the water here. And if the scout ships go down, I think that means the fishing boats do as well. And I think that's it. I think this may be the GG. And yeah, wow. Incredible series from Vertex there. 3-0. I did not expect this. Like I said, I feel like, where has this Vertex been this whole time?